Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for September 7th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today is Puya. How you doing, Puya?
I'm doing really good, Taran. I feel like it's been a situation where a lot of people, we kind of feel like we got teased to the extreme, given the last 48 hours and given the result of last night. But as always, we're here. We're going to have fun with it. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff and a bunch of not stuff. So either way, I'm happy to be here.
Less than a second, Puya. Less than a second.
It could have all been different, Taran.
Seriously, that is Big Brother. The entire trajectory of the entire season is hinging on less than a second. Crazy. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. So we are here to talk about everything that happened on the Big Brother 20 live feeds yesterday. And obviously we had an eviction. We had an HOH. All of this stuff went down. But prior to all of that, we did get some last minute campaigning on Scottie's part. First, Jaycee and Brett came together and just confirmed with each other that, you know what, we're not going to save Scottie. As we talked about yesterday, there was a big flip in the house briefly, and then ultimately Jaycee and Brett, having flipped to want to keep Scottie, ended up flipping back over into not keeping Scottie. So they're just confirming this again at the start of the day. Jaycee even says, like, you know, maybe if we had more time to work this, if Scottie had come to us earlier and we had more time to like make sure that we could do this and people would like explain it properly to people, but we just don't have enough time. We can't make this work, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah, as Angela would say, it was a day late, a dollar short. Because I thought Scottie's points here were pretty good. But again, it's the day of. Like, you should have been banging this drum all week long. He didn't. The problem was Jaycee did not have the confidence in Scottie either. And this is something you have talked about extensively throughout this week, where Scottie doesn't tell them who he's targeting. He keeps omitting that information, where it's just easy to give any two names that's not them, and they'll feel good enough to like do something with this information.
Yeah, well, so after Jaycee and Brett check in, Scottie is gonna pitch to Jaycee, and he says, "Look, Jaycee, Angela, Tyler, and Kaycee, they're going to be the final three if we don't do anything about it. And, you know, if I stay in the house, I'm a big target ahead of you guys. These are all of the exact points that for why he should be staying in the house." Yeah. But when Jaycee is asking, like, so who are you going to target? He still is not telling him exactly who he's going to target. And obviously this is because Jaycee would love for, if Scottie said, "I will put up Angela and Kaycee," if Scottie had the presence of mind to, like, talk to Jaycee and be like, "All right, Jaycee, like, what do you think? Like, what do you think is our best move moving forward if I stay?" And, like, even if he said that, like, I think Jaycee would have been a lot more likely to go, "You know what, Brett, maybe we should just go for this." Because ultimately, when Jaycee talks to Brett yet again after Scottie's pitch, he said, "I'm really tempted, but Scottie still won't tell me who he's going to target if he stays in the house. So I don't think it's worth the risk right now."
Yeah, name names. It was pretty frustrating. And you can't really blame Jaycee and Brett for at this point being too sketched out to move forward with this plan and do it, because there's just not enough confidence there. And their belief of that if we manage to keep them, like the whole, "Oh, I'll always be a target ahead of you," Scottie saying this to them. They're also worried, like, personal grudges are going to come in. They're going to feel betrayed by the people they trust that said they were going to get rid of Scottie. And then also Brett has obviously had this lingering feeling of the whole, "I was the guy who really planted evidence in Scottie's bag to get rid of Scottie by claiming the vote he had." So there was enough paranoia here that just prevented them from wanting to do this and keep their hands clean. Obviously Jaycee's been banging these drums of Angela, and like Brett talked about it with him and said, "Listen, let's get Scottie out. Let's just do this, and then we can work that way." Which we get to the HOH and we're all set, but whatever.
Yes. Yeah, ultimately it's too risky. They didn't have enough time to clear it with everyone first. So if they did go behind people's backs, then Brett, you know, as you said, correctly points out, like, he might be a target in front of us right now, but if we blindside our alliance, then we'll be the target. It's too late, and he still won't name names. It's not worth the risk. They decide, nope, not gonna happen. Scottie is evicted unanimously on Thursday night, and has a very awkward speech where he I guess I was told on Twitch that in the subsequent airings of the episode, the entire thing was bleeped out, as though he was just issuing a string of profanities. What he was saying was, first of all, he said that people were just dicking around all week long. And then he said, if you vote for me to leave this house, then you can all suck it, except for Tyler, who's been getting a regular dose of that Hilton head. That was Scottie's speech before he then left the house, and also apparently flipped them off when he turned around to leave. Just very strange and awkward behavior from Scottie, but that's what Scottie did on his way out the door, which is gonna have some impact later. But we also have to talk about the goodbye messages in the interview, which were also very strange.
Yeah, anything associated with Scottie speaking with other people has been strange from the get-go. This was like the creme de la creme of that. I think Mike Bloom out there loved the pun, loved the wordplay here with the Hilton head. He was very proud of him for that. But ultimately, Scottie just, like 2 weeks in a row now, we get these like grand speeches. These guys think they're going to unhinge the people. And really what it is they're both jabs at Angela. And like, has Angela been pushed into the ground more than anybody else in the last couple of weeks? Probably not. But it's just Scottie. He's weird. Like, we'll get to his interview with Julie Chen. It was just very strange behavior, very strange body language. I feel like he was like, his heart was really pounding. He was shaking. I could feel like it was just all over the place. Yeah,
it's just like, I think what really fails to land with both Fessy and Scottie and their speeches is that, like, it feels very manufactured. It doesn't feel genuine because they can't deliver it convincingly. Like Fessy, who was just like, so you like drive a car and you go to the grocery store and oh crap, what was I gonna say? You suck. And Scottie, who's just like. He's like mumbling through it, like you can all suck it, and except for Tyler, because he's gonna. What? They like half of them didn't hear it, and it's like you're too worried and nervous to make the big grandiose speech. But the point of a big grandiose speech is that you bellow it out from the bottom of your gut, and you feel it. You feel it. You feel the speech. But they don't feel the speech. This is like they wrote it on a paper and they're reading from it and they're like, and so you're a terrible person and I hate every bit of what you represent in this world. Like, what are you talking about? That is not how you do a speech.
Yeah, no. Given their mumbling trajectory, I think they're very, very well on their way to becoming rappers in 2018. It was a little bit all over the place. And like, given how this is the fun part, Taran, is that Haleigh's speech was no good either.
Yeah,
we're not
it was
talking
really
about it because that was just a little bit more exciting to, dump on, whereas Haleigh's was kind of a lot of nothing.
It was really bad. Like, to evict or not to evict? That is the question. Okay, and then she's I even felt like the last eviction she did a better job, but man, it was bad. Just like, again, just way too prepared and dare I say robotic. Just no good.
No.
Rob is in the chat here. He does point out Scottie made Fessy's speech sound like the Gettysburg Address, which is fair.
Yeah, it was something, man. It was something. And oh my god, I can't wait to talk about how the house took this speech after everything went down. So I'm excited to talk about that later on too.
Yeah, so Scottie he leaves, he's flipping him off. He has a very awkward conversation with Julie. Right from the get-go, he like goes to hug her and then he's like, oh, sorry. And then and then they have this conversation where Julie, why you and not Haleigh? Why am I not Haleigh? What? No. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. It doesn't make any sense, Taran. It doesn't make any sense. This guy. Oh my God. I feel like he just spent all of his energy doing that speech and then kind of realizes where he is and then gets out and is just a blubbering mess with Julie, even more so than he was in the house.
Yes, absolutely. You can just like he's still like on that adrenaline rush of like I did the thing and now he's probably still thinking about it and like did I mess it up and you know then he all of this stuff and Julie was not good either. Julie, you've not been good this season, especially in the sense of like influencing the jury. I feel like she's been great for so long at not influencing the jury in any way, but then she's like, I think Tyler's a coward. Tyler's a coward. Is Tyler a coward or is he just playing the game, Scottie? No, he's a coward. But then later on, she's doing things that influence him against Tyler. Like, it's like, stop. Just why are you commenting on this? He is a jury member.
Keep your opinions to yourself, Julie. And it comes back again when they hear the goodbye messages. Julie just is very transparent to us that she has an agenda or she's just trying to push something into Scottie's ear. And obviously Scottie's come out in this, like he's trying to give off this I don't care attitude of nothing matters to me. These people are dumb. They're cowards. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go back and talk to my friends and we're going to sort this out. But I've said this from the beginning of the season. This season, Julie clearly is trying to change up the formula of what she's had the whole time. And I think finally everybody calling her the Chen bot has gotten to her because she's trying to show some signs of life. She's kind of showed some kind of energy towards us. But it would have been it was all well and good during the pre-jury stuff. But now is the time to not say anything. You know, it's like when you have to send your three questions to the jury or your 3 questions to Allison Grodner. Just give them the one sentence, let them answer whatever they answer, and just take it and go home. That's it. Don't push it any further, but she does.
Yes. So then we get goodbye messages. I honestly thought all of them were pretty bad. JC's was terrible. Like, oh, you're my friend, but your game's no good, and all of this stuff. Just very, very bad. Brett's was probably the best after obviously Haleigh's, but even then it wasn't great. He basically was like, yeah, Tyler runs this house. Sorry, I don't. Which is like, that could really backfire on you, man. Especially since a lot of Brett's equity in the game is claiming to be the mastermind and trying to make them feel like Tyler wasn't running the game the whole time.
Right.
So especially like because the thing about Brett's game is that like if Brett is not the mastermind that they all thought he was, then all that's left is them remembering him being an arrogant ass to them, acting like he was the mastermind when actually he had no control in the game. And so I was like, that's not the look you want to be going for, I think. And then Tyler, who I think was doing a good job at first, I did know about this. He's owning his game, and I had a power. We went over this last night, but Tyler could have handled this much better. But I thought it was fine up until tell your friends, which I thought he thought was charming, but in the moment was not. Especially when it's punctuated with Julie going, so are you going to do what Tyler tells you to do? Which immediately, again, paints this in like a very negative light of like, oh, well, no, of course not. I would never do what Tyler tells me to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Tyler, I feel like this is a massive overcorrection on Paul last season, where Paul was like, I don't know what happened, man. Put in a good word. I have no idea. Like, all the best. Tyler's flipping it where he's like, I knew everything. I know we acted like we didn't know anything, but I knew everything. And by the way, I had this power. Go tell them. Like, it doesn't come off genuine that he wanted Scottie to know this. It clearly comes off as, this is a tool in my arsenal that I need you to become my owl and go deliver this mail to the jury house, which comes off very bad. And it's just one of those things where hopefully moving forward, he's doing a better job with the remainder that remains. But as of right now, with Scottie in particular, it was not good. And the only hope for Brett's one at this point is Scottie's ears were still ringing after seeing Tyler's behavior to him in his goodbye message, that he doesn't really pick up what Brett was saying about Tyler running the show. So
yeah, I think also part of it is maybe that Tyler is thinking like, Scottie's a super fan. Like the more I'm able to like correct his image of me right now and make myself seem like I've really been running the show, and like not only am I running the show, but I am the guy in the diary room talking about how I'm the mastermind of the season, then hopefully he will come around, which I do think is possible. I think that if Tyler is sitting in the final two and Scottie has had a good 3 weeks to sort of sit on this and see Tyler as like, oh my god, he's been running the whole house from day one, I think there's a chance that Scottie's like, give it up to him. There's also a chance he's bitter that he goes along with everything else. But it's it could go either way. But obviously, I feel like the thing that Tyler should have done is just I am a super fan too, I don't know why he didn't he's just too distracted with Angela. I don't know.
I feel like the two things he needs in the goodbye message moving forward is that revealing that he is a super fan, because he's been very effective in hiding it with all these people coming in. With when Rachel comes in, he doesn't really react to that. That's good. And then blueprints. He has the blueprints clearly than anybody else in the house. He has the most complete set of it. So start feeding those out. Start funneling them to the people who are going out, especially now that you know that the battle back's done. More than likely, this isn't going to happen again. These people are gone for good. So do as best you can to start feeding them information, cutting pieces off before someone else gets to it. Because this is kind of what happened with Paul, where Josh started telling them exactly what had been going on the narrative, or a narrative that would make sense to them, of like, yeah, I've been working with Paul and Christmas from the beginning. We're together. This is what we're doing. So I think his best move is to just start giving them the information, knowing full well they're not coming back, and so that they can just start, at least if they're not receptive to it at the beginning. As you said, when the 2-3 weeks go by, they can start stewing in it, marinating in it, and seeing the remainder of the story come out and realize, damn, Tyler knows everything that had been going on. Tyler has had a heavy hand. But again, this cuddlemance could be the death of him.
Yeah. And also, I think like the thing about revealing that you're a super fan is that it's not specific. And that's kind of a good thing. Like, because, when Tyler says I had the power app and I never had to use it, it's like, okay, so what? But if Tyler says, like, so I know you thought that I was one thing, but I'm actually not. I'm actually a super fan. I've watched the feeds. I've loved this show since I was a kid. This is my dream. People love to hear that. And I've been playing really hard, and I'm sorry that I, ended up playing you, but I have deals with everyone. I mean, the fact that he has a final two with everyone left in the house, he should be saying this. And then they will find out about it later when those people come into the jury house. And Tyler can couch the betrayal stuff, the fact that like I betrayed you and I'm going to betray all these other people, but it's because I'm a super fan. It's my dream to be here, and I'm playing as hard as I can to achieve that dream. Like that's how you do a goodbye message. You don't bring up a random detail that people probably don't care about or assumed anyway, and then like kind of like brag about it and be like, tell your friends. Come on, Tyler, you're better than that, Tyler. But at the same time, he's not, because again, like Tyler's strength is he is opposite Vanessa. He is just pure social, like get him in a room with somebody one-on-one and he can make them fall in love with him. But in terms of like thinking out strategy, he's all over the place, which is part of what makes him so interesting to watch, I think. But there you go. So yes. Then we get an HOH competition, and as we know, Brett and JC, if either of them win, they're taking a shot at Angela with Kaycee up on the block next to her. If Haleigh wins, they're going to try and talk her into that, although she would probably just go for Sam. If Sam wins, she would probably put up Haleigh and Angela, and Brett and JC would try to take a shot at Angela and convince Sam to evict Angela over Haleigh. So 4 out of the 6 people competing. We're going to get some interesting stuff going on. But of course, the second we see this HOH competition, we talked about it last night. I think a lot of people are like, Kaycee's probably got an advantage in this one.
Yeah, steady hands. She knows how to use them, unlike Fessy, who should be having steady hands. But she pulls it out. I mean, and not that clear cut either. We talked about it at the top of this update. It came down to 1 second. Brett was behind her by 1 second.
Brett thought that he had won. He said afterwards, he sprinted to the buzzer. Even though Kaycee finished before him, she was just lightly jogging to the buzzer, thinking she was fine. I can't wait to see this on the replay on Sunday, because apparently Kaycee finishes, she starts jogging, and then she's probably halfway to the buzzer, and then Brett finishes and sprints to the buzzer, and Kaycee just boop, and Brett's bam. Oh man, oh, so close. Just the entire season hinging on less than a second. But there you go. Kaycee has won, and man, this just really, I'm just production really screwed up the timing on this, with the battle back extending the doldrums for another week, and then not having the double eviction come this week. I was very confused about why they did that. It seems weird to have the double eviction next week and then basically immediately head into the fast forwarded end game, especially because if they hold off for the double eviction last night, then everybody now knows for sure at this point we're going to get a double eviction next week. It has to be. It's the last week that it's available. But if they had done the double eviction this week, Kaycee would have won. They would have immediately taken out Haleigh. And then right back into the next HOH, just gotten that quick and easy eviction out of the way, and now back to the good stuff, the fighting, the infighting. Exactly. But nope, bad timing.
Nope, we got completely teased into one more week of this before we get to the good stuff. And I mean, I guess this one, how do we look at it? Ultimately must have been the fact that they didn't have a contingency plan, a plan B. If Kaitlyn doesn't complete that damn puzzle, have an alternate schedule set up. Because it looks like after that, the planning has been all over the place. This battle back kind of seemed out of nowhere. And then now with the fact that we're going to get the final 5, and then just a week of just quick. And then we get to the final 3. And then we do the format that they've been doing since BB11 with the final 3 and all that stuff. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a tease. I'm not going to use any other word. It's been a bit of a tease. We're getting here. We're finally going to get there eventually, but just another week of this, another week of obviously Haleigh is target numero uno.
Yes. So what are you gonna do? It's things gotta go the way they're gonna go. But hopefully we'll still have some exciting final couple of weeks here. Yeah. So Kaycee is the HOH, and she is obviously going to be putting up Haleigh and Sam. Angela's though very upset about sorry, that's people keep asking, and so I should probably address it. Rob made a joke tweet about Kaycee's HOH win being under review for cheating. Just in case you were not aware, this was a joke. There's no controversy surrounding Kaycee's win whatsoever. There shouldn't have been any controversy surrounding Tyler's win, which is the joke. So Kaycee's win will in fact stand. Yeah. So Angela's very upset about Scottie's speech. She says she nearly cried. She's like, why are these people coming after me? What did I do to them? Rob in the chat says, oops.
So she get for parodying Twitter sometimes.
I was talking about it on Twitch. Like, there were people at the end of Big Brother 19 that were like, Rob, so you talked about how you coached Josh before the season. Like, are you proud of him for winning the game? It's like literally right after he said that preseason, he mentioned that it was a joke.
Yeah, people carry it on. People sometimes you want to hear what you want to hear, and you block everything else out.
It's fun. Like the misinformation, it spreads so quickly.
Yeah.
The fact that I just referenced that, a year from now, somebody's gonna like say it again, because I just talked about it again.
Yeah, Rob was Josh's coach, obviously.
Yeah. So anyway, Angela is she's very upset. Tyler's trying to comfort her. They're trying to explain. JC did not understand what JC thought that Scottie was legitimately complimenting Tyler, which, to be fair, that was like when Scottie said you can all suck it except for Tyler. I thought that he was being regular old Scottie. Oh well, Tyler's the greatest. But he didn't understand like what Scottie was saying. So they finally had to like explain it to Scott. Like, oh, they meant that like Angela, Head, Tyler getting some, and Jason was, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, JC, it is. Oh my God. So, okay, so I've been waiting for this one. I dedicate this to Brent, who I know is going to be listening to this at some point. Angela's the alleged Ice Queen. We've been talking about her being the Ice Queen the whole season. She leaves these crazy, like, mean goodbye messages. She has said some controversial stuff. She doesn't care. And then the one person that talks about this stuff is the most uneducated / inexperienced person in these said activities, Scottie, our virgin prince, duke, king, however you want to call him. So why do you care what he says? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He probably doesn't even know what it looks like. Like, relax. It does not matter. You need to have thicker skin. I was so surprised that she was so bent out of shape about this. Like, oh, this is slander. Again, if he's saying it on the live show, you got to think, first of all, we're not going to hear all of it. It's going to get somewhat censored. Don't worry about it. Like, this is kind of like Alec and that shower door opening in BB Can 1 and Alec having a complete mess of a fit that, oh no, I'm ruined. Like, this is slander. This is slander. Angela.
I was on Alec's side on that one, though.
Me too. But in this instance, like, I feel like she shouldn't have been so upset about this, because I don't think it was that big of a deal coming from Scottie. Like, his word in this should have no weight.
Yeah, I feel like I think that it to me, I've sort of been getting the sense in the diary room as well that like Angela's sort of Ice Queen stuff. It does feel like that, like Tyler is melting the ice heart. I feel like she is like genuine, like she's getting feelings. She's becoming a real person. I feel like I've noticed this in the diary room too, where I don't know if anyone else has noticed it as well, but like I feel like she's coming across more genuine in her diary room sessions. Like all season long, I've talked about like how awful she is in the diary, so mechanical, so like it feels so fake. But like recently, especially when she talks about Tyler, she seems warmer and she seems like she's more natural. I feel like she's kind of like feeling a little bit more like herself, and I think she is kind of. I think the reason she was the Ice Queen earlier on is because she was especially prone to the thing that you do where you really like you demonize the person that is leaving in order to not feel bad, and I think that she and who Angela actually is somebody who is a very sensitive person, and that expressed itself in a very cold exterior to protect herself, but now Tyler's really like opening up those boulders, and we're getting to the Scotch tape inside, so You know, I do feel for Angela a little bit in the sense that like everyone's like, I feel like she's for the like she hasn't really done anything to Scottie. She never really did anything to Fessy, like personally, like, you know what I mean, like she did go after Bayleigh. She did go after Rachel. If they came after her, and she did, you know, she granted Rockstar came after her and then she retaliated. But like these things were all like mutual things. But then like Scottie and Fessy kind of like jumped on the bandwagon of like, let's hate Angela. But Angela hadn't really done anything to them personally. So it is kind of like it's like, well, let's, I don't know.
You feel like she's been a little bit made the target of these ridicules and stuff?
Yeah. But you know, it's I just feel like because that's part of it too. It's like Scottie and Fessy doing this. It wasn't like they actually felt like, oh, screw it. Like, it felt like it was manufactured. It felt like they were jumping on a bandwagon of let's hate Angela because that's the popular thing to do. And I feel like that's why it hurts more to Angela. That like it's like, you know, like, what did I do to you? Like, why are you doing this? It's just you know, like they're trying, but like, you know, you do better.
Do better. Yeah, I feel obviously like the fact that they all seemed scripted, not good. I guess for me, it's kind of like, you know, I'm still thinking about her at the beginning of the season. The whole melted heart theory, definitely starting to understand it now that you've explained it. She is kind of coming out of that shell. Tyler has put the force fields down, but ultimately, to me, it's like, if you're gonna dish, you gotta take. And I know that she's starting to become a changed person from when she dished, but I still, some part of me is like, just take it on, like, move on. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I guess like in the moment, and then the fact that they've really understood what was said 10 minutes later, I feel like that's too late to have the reaction. Like, it's donezo. Don't worry about it.
Yes. All right. So main point here though is JC thinks this is hilarious. Yeah. Because of course. Right
up his alley.
All right. So Kaycee, Angela, and Brett are going to talk about the nominations. Kaycee, of course, is putting up Haleigh and Sam. She just needs to figure out what she's going to say to Sam. Angela suggests, just talk about the rogue votes, that she casts votes against the house all the time. So, there you go. And Kaycee's like, yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, and then Brett's like, oh, you could talk about how they're the only two people going after each other so hard. And like, that's a good, like, they pretty much kind of just brainstormed on what kind of deductive reasoning they can put in there to justify it to Sam that she's going to sit there next to Haleigh, because Haleigh obviously being the clear choice. And then Angela talked about how she's like worked on it a little bit with Sam, like how clearly everyone wants Haleigh gone. So they're just going to try and soften any type of blow they're going to have, because honestly, since Sam's been on the block, that was week 1. And she was a robot for the most part. So they're not really sure how she's going to react being on the block.
Yes. It's always something to worry about. With Haleigh, they feel like Kaycee can just say, you put me up twice.
Right.
So.
Easy.
Yeah. JC checks in with Brett. He's like, so close. We were so close. But it's not the end of the world. We'll just send Haleigh out. They're going to focus on Haleigh. And we just need to keep her mouth shut until next week. And then, we just don't say a word. Keep your mouth shut. We'll do it next week.
Simple as that. And then another point to talk about why they didn't keep Scottie was also they were still worried that the double eviction could have been last night. Mm-hmm. Of like, we don't have enough time to, restore any kind of relationship and explain why what happened and all that. So now they're just like, let's just not say anything until we get the chance to do it again. Which is next week. They're kind of like, to me, I kind of see them like Pinky and the Brain, where JC's clearly trying to be the brain and Brett is supposed to be Pinky, and it's fun to follow it that way as well.
Yeah. So Brett talks to Sam. He's trying to prep her for being the pawn a little bit here. Like, okay, so we know, Haleigh's the target, but we just all need to stay calm this week. And Sam is immediately gonna be like, why am I the pawn? No. I mean, I could be the pawn. I need to stay calm too. Like, it could be me. Sam sees right through this.
Yeah, the Brett doesn't do all that good of a job. I mean, it's good to like kind of put it out there so she starts realizing that could be a possibility, I guess. But it was the opposite of what he wanted to do. So it still happened.
I was like, Brett, why are you doing this? Like, you don't need to be the bearer of this bad news.
Yeah, don't be the messenger. Messenger never ends up okay in some of these situations. So.
Yeah. So Kaycee checks in with Tyler. She says she's gonna and this is after the HOH room reveal. There was Vegas had tweeted about a letter, and she got a letter from her brother, I believe, who asked her to be his best person at his wedding, and it was very touching. But afterward, she talked to Tyler, and she wanted to talk to him about like when she's going to talk to people. She says she's going to wait until the morning to talk to Sam. With Haleigh, she's just going to be vague because that's what Haleigh did to her. So,
Yeah.
All's fair.
Yeah. And like what we know as the viewers, we've seen how Haleigh handles the vague. She kind of doesn't blow up on it or anything. And then ultimately she does what she's been doing the last couple of weeks of like, I can understand if you put me up, so it's fine. Like, I guess I see it. So obviously we're going to get to that. And that's kind of how Haleigh reacts. So that's fine. I think choosing to let Sam know in the morning or talk to Sam in the morning is the better choice here. Because at least it's still less time between telling her and the nomination for her to like flip out.
Yes. And it's again like all these people like, oh, Kaycee is so much better at jury management because she's not vague. Listen to Haleigh in the diary room talk about how vague Tyler is. Cut to literally like the next day. Kaycee, I can't wait to be vague to Haleigh because that's what she did to me. Like, yeah, you guys are reading into things with Kaycee. All right. So they also talk about Tyler warns Kaycee, watch out for JC. JC, he might try to get into your head a little bit. Watch out for that. She says, we're good. I'll let you know if JC comes to me with anything.
Yeah, I'll relay all the messages over to you. That's perfect for Tyler because as long as Tyler knows what kind of ammunition JC's playing with, he can course correct and fix it or like sort it out with JC and be fine. I believe at this point he trusts that Kaycee will not listen to him anyways, but it's more so like he wants to make sure that he gets the information and he wants to know that Kaycee's cognizant of the fact that JC's up to no good.
Yes. They also mentioned that like even if somebody tries something, like no matter what happens, we control the votes this week, which is true. Tyler, there's going to be 4 votes total. Tyler and Angela are obviously never going to go up on the block, which means they are 2 solid votes, plus Kaycee as the tiebreaker. The 3 of them together control who goes home this week, no matter what. So they do not have to worry about any flipping or anything like that.
Yeah, no, they're guaranteed. And that's one of the reasons why this week kind of delays the inevitable, because of the fact that no matter what happens, no matter what kind of crazy conversations we hear, as long as Tyler and Angela and Kaycee are on the same page, it's not going to affect anything this week.
Mm-hmm. So Haleigh is then going to talk to Kaycee, and Kaycee is going to go through with her being vague plan. Haleigh mentions she's so proud of Kaycee for winning, and I understand if you need to put me on the block. It's again this
stop
for like the 3rd week in a row.
Yeah,
the 3rd week in a row. Haleigh starts with, I understand if you need to put me on the block.
Like, stop putting yourself up as tribute. Like, damn, this isn't the Hunger Games. Stop that. And I feel like she always starts off like, because like in this situation, really all you can do is kind of guilt trip them into not putting you up, not guilt trip them into making sure they know that it's okay for you to be put up. Like, that is not a good tool to guilt trip. And I feel like that's kind of what she keeps trying to do, and it still stays not working. Obviously, she talks about how, you know, I kind of regret nominating you and everything, and like they've had good rapport this last week. We've seen scenes of it on the show, we've seen it on the feeds. Like, they've been working well together. You know, she's kind of moved away from Brett this past week, and kind of most of that has been moved over to Kaycee, which is nice. But that just doesn't show to me. Is like, be confident in this relationship you've made, kind of like act like a little bit more confident that all of this work put in will mean something. Don't act like, oh, I was also kind of unsure that this was going to mean anything, so if you have to put me up, I totally get it because it makes sense. Like, that is the wrong move to do if you've been working on this relationship all week long.
Yeah, what you need to do is you go into the room and you go, yeah, and you celebrate with her, and it's like, we're good, we're safe, we're gonna take out Sam, and then you're like, so I mean, the move is probably like Brett and Sam, right? Like Brett would be a great pawn for, I don't know, make up some reasons, like and talk, you know, act about like you know, we're such good. I'm so glad that over the last few weeks we've really been bonding. I really can't wait to get to the end with you. Like, just lay it on as thick as possible. You got nothing to lose. But instead, you're right. Like, it shows a lack of faith. Like, if Haleigh comes in there and she's like, so I expect that you're going to want to put me up. It's like, well, that's not only giving Kaycee permission to do that, but it's telling Kaycee that you don't respect the relationship. So why should she? It just, it gets you nowhere. And it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and again, like this past week, the one thing Scottie's done is kind of bring this information into the house of like, Angela's not liked, you know, kind of Brett is not liked or whatever. You know, Kaycee's liked. So if you kind of lay it on thick enough for Kaycee to be in a situation where she has to, quote unquote, be unliked by someone because she has to now put them on the block, and she maybe doesn't know how to do that. Like, you don't know if she knows how to do that or not. Like, it's just, it was a big mistake on all fronts for her. And I feel like she didn't utilize anything that Kaycee had given her. Kaycee, you know, obviously telling her, I can tell you you're good before the HOH, like before the week was wrapped up. Use that same, act like that is what she said forever. Like, it wasn't just for this vote, was for like just be dumb about it. Celebrate with her. Kind of start talking about stuff enough that she feels like she has to stab you in the back. Like, she has to actively do that because you assume that you're all well and good with her. But when you don't do that and you just basically give her the word she needs, which is I understand, that's it. She doesn't need anything else from you. She doesn't need any justification because you said it makes sense. So why shouldn't she put you up?
And it's just an extension of how she's been playing for the last couple, like constantly checking in with Tyler and being like showing him that you don't trust him when he tells you that you're good. And then wondering why he doesn't trust you. Like, you are showing that you don't trust him. And if you don't trust him, then he can't trust you. That's how it works. But, you know, what are you going to do? So,
like, the fact that she keeps banking on, you know, saying stuff like, I can't wait to prove to you how loyal I am. And assuming that just saying that means she can act however type of way. Like, she went and apologized to the girls last night for, I'm sorry for being so paranoid this week. Like, they told you a billion times, don't be paranoid about this week. You should have just not done anything, and that would have done you a lot better than you know, kicking around and acting paranoid. And I understand, like, you know, obviously we're not playing the game. So if we're in that scenario, we might be paranoid too. But just simply put, when the guy comes back in from a battle back and he's put right back up on the block, assume that he's going to go out again. Assume that no one wants him to get a second chance when they're not getting it. Like, there were enough reasons for her to see that she is going to be fine, that she let falter because of her paranoia. And that brings her into this week where now she's in clear danger.
Yeah. So She talks about, she regrets the circumstances. She regrets putting Kaycee up on the block. Kaycee says, I'm still figuring out what I'm doing. Basically, you know, the same, this is, switch Tyler out for Kaycee, switch Kaycee out for Tyler. It's the same conversation. Except, you know, Haleigh, I think has a little more of an expectation from Kaycee in terms of, their friendship and, not being put up on the block, and not being targeted, especially. At this point, I do believe that that Haleigh expects to be put on the block. I think she is 100% confident at the moment that Sam would be the target, which is obviously going to be a bit of a shock for her when that's not the case. Haleigh says, just let me know. Just tell me what's happening. That's all I ask. And Kaycee says, yeah, I'm just still not sure right now. So it's gonna, the vague is here and it's gonna stay.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one good thing that Level 6 has done with Haleigh is the fact that she's been the person sitting next to the evicted person 2 weeks in a row now, to where she probably starts realizing, oh, maybe I'm the new block star now. That's what my position in this game is. So that gives her enough sense of confidence that I'm gonna be all right. And then for Kaycee, the job she did last week with being like, I'm glad you came to me. I'm here to tell you we're good. You're good. So again, when she gets put on the block, if Kaycee just reiterates, listen, you're good. Like, you trusted me last week and you were good. Trust me again, you're good, is enough to kind of keep Haleigh occupied and keep Haleigh thinking that Sam is the one going home, because everyone has done a good job of, I don't think it was a job. They were just honestly complaining about Sam the last couple of weeks anyway. So it's kind of like, oh, it's her turn to go now. We got rid of the scary battle back guy. Now we get rid of Sam.
Yeah, speaking of Block Star, at one point in the night, Brett was like, poor Block Star. She must miss me in that jury house, having to deal with everyone there without me. I'm literally never gonna call her anything but Block Star. I could see him going to the final two and addressing Rockstar as Block Star. That is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I feel like, given the fact that he's in a situation where he feels like that relationship's kind of dead. And we heard him talk last night about how he thinks if I give them Angela on a silver platter, maybe that'll give me their votes. That's still a maybe in his mind. So if he doesn't think he's going to get that vote regardless, he wants to have fun with it. And I think being the showman he is, he kind of wants to rub it in her face a little bit. Hey, I made it here. You said all these things about me. You hate me. You got to look at me now. You still hate me, but you're the block star. Like, he's going to want to rattle her, as Paulie Calafiore would say.
Yes. So people are also talking about, like, Haleigh should throw JC under the bus, because JC has hinted to Haleigh that he wants to make a move against Angela and Kaycee. There are a couple of problems with this. One is that Haleigh doesn't really know the details about this. JC hinted about it, but he never really, like, came to her with a solid plan. And so I don't think she really even understands that it's a definite thing that's happening. I think she thinks it's all talk right now. And then another thing is, I don't think she wants to throw JC under the bus, because she doesn't want people to target JC. She wants people to target Sam. She cares more about making sure that Sam's the target. And if she threw JC under the bus, then people might target JC, and then they wouldn't be targeting Sam, and that would not be okay in her eyes. So, yes, she should be doing everything she can. She should be remembering this conversation. She should be trying to extrapolate what it means and then explain it and throw JC under the bus, and at least get him on the block next to Sam. But again, we're talking about Haleigh here. Will she ever expose JC? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think she'll. I don't even know if it's in her brain to, like, I don't think she filed it away as, like, useful information for later. I think she's, like, not really thinking about it. Maybe it'll come up later, but if I had to guess, I'm going to say she probably doesn't say anything.
Right. I would have to assume along similar lines as well. And I want to blame Fessy for this, because Fessy's the one who brought JC into Haleigh's world and was like, this is someone we can work with. And now, given that Haleigh has nobody, she really kind of only feels like she has maybe JC somewhat a little bit. So why put him up, especially if she wants Sam gone. Doing anything to throw JC under the bus, maybe she feels like would put JC in more of a spotlight than it would Sam. And as of this point, like, I don't know if she knows how useful that information is for her. So we'll see. We'll see what comes as the days go along after these nominations happen, which I think we all know is obviously going to be Haleigh and Sam at this point.
Yes. So then finally, last conversation of the night, very, very late. Tyler talked to JC. And this, to me, was the most interesting conversation of the night because I have been thinking about this. I've been tweeting about this. Like, when is Tyler finally going to start realizing that Kaycee is not a good choice to bring to the end between the jury information, now her winning her third straight competition, or her fourth competition in as many weeks? Like 4 weeks, she's won 4 competitions. And Scottie came back in and said the jury likes her, or at least doesn't hate her. And so it's like, when are you going to realize that she is not the best person to bring to the final 2? Seems like maybe he's thinking about it, according to what he's going to say to JC in this conversation. But first, they're going to talk about JC's like, man, Brett was so close to winning that, and he was going to take a shot at Angela, and that would have been so great, right, Tyler?
JC just... Oh my God, read the room, JC. Like, JC just really, all JC wants is to hear Tyler say yes, and then he wants to hear Tyler say, I love you. Like, that. This has literally been JC's game plan from the beginning, where he doesn't want that showmance to be a thing. He wants to be, he wants his husband back, is what he's been doing. He really just wants the words of affirmation to come out of Tyler's mouth saying, yeah, like, that's good, because then we're together. Like, then JC can sleep happy, like real happy, if you know what I mean. Like, he'll love that. But obviously, don't tell this to Tyler. But JC's gonna JC. So
yeah. He's gonna reiterate like the plans for next week and all of that. But then he brings up end game plans. He's like, so is the plan still you, me, and Kaycee in the final 3? And Tyler says, I don't know. She's been winning a lot of competitions. I don't know if we should bring her to the final 3 anymore. And we know that Tyler wants JC in the final 3. He mentioned that in his diary rooms. He had a Snapchat thing where he like pointed to people in an order. I don't know how reliable that is, because he ended up not choosing Sam at all, and also like the perspective was off, so you couldn't really see exactly who was. It didn't really make a lot of sense. But either way, we know from multiple sources that Tyler wants to take JC far because he's so bad at competitions, and if worse comes to worse and he has to sit next to JC in the end, he probably has a good shot at beating him. So JC is somebody that he I think wants to bring down to the final 3. And so I think he's honest with JC when he's talking about who he wants to bring with him there. And so he says, I don't know anymore about Kaycee. She's been winning a lot of competitions. Maybe we need to rethink this. So JC suggests, okay, well, what about Sam? And Tyler says, can't be Sam, because if the jury is bitter, then Sam's going to win. If the jury's bitter, Kaycee's going to win too, Tyler. That's the thing too. But Tyler says no to Sam as well. So we're not really sure now. It seems like it's potentially in his head that he doesn't want to bring Kaycee anymore. I don't know how solid this is. This is one conversation, but it's something that I've been wondering for a long time. So it was very interesting to me. If you look at the possibilities now, if he's not going to take Sam and he's considering not taking Kaycee, we know he's not going to take Brett. Who does that leave?
Dun, dun, dun,
Angela.
Yep. JC's not gonna like once he figures that out. I think the reason it's starting to dawn on him is because, obviously he finds out that Kaycee's beloved by everybody. He's known this for a long time, I think, but he's also felt like, well, I'm also beloved, but I've been winning stuff. I've got that on my resume. She doesn't. So that's good for me if we sit together. We've had this alliance from day one. That's a good story. And I will seem like the alpha of that relationship. But then now, given that Kaycee's got her slowly but surely, that comp resume is building up for her. Again, 2 vetoes, 1 HOH, and she'll reveal the hacker comp later. That's 4 in a row. That's going to start making Tyler feel a little bit worried, because now it's like, oh, they love her and she's winning stuff. So now there's like enough reason for her to win there. So while the bitter thing, maybe he wasn't associating that with Kaycee for whatever reason, the comp stuff he is feeling a little bit shaky about. But again, in this perfect world of his, if he really does want JC and Angela there together, I really don't know if he can make it there without having his head blown off by either party yelling at him about the other person. Obviously, it works for him because they'll both take him, but getting to 3 with those two is going to be such a hard task. So it'll be interesting to gauge and track and see where this goes now, whether this Kaycee to JC talk is kind of like, oh, whatever, it was just one night, one like little brain thought, or it's going to be a situation where he's going to actively start weighing out other options and actively trying to decide which way he can steer this and what perfect 2 he can bring with him to 3.
Yeah, I do think that if he's able to get to final 3 with JC and Angela, that is his ideal situation.
Yeah,
I think he can probably beat both of them. I think that they both definitely take him. I think he's basically locked the win in at that point. It's just, as you mentioned, a matter of how do you keep them from tearing each other's throats out up until that point. You know, we saw Dan take Ian and Danielle, who hated each other, toward the end to the final 3. So it's possible, but we also saw what Dan had to do in order to make that happen, which was brutally slice open Shane's throat. So hopefully we see, you know, maybe we'll see Tyler do something similar to Kaycee. You know, who knows? But you know, it's either way. It seems like Tyler's thinking about this. Very interesting to point out because, you know, I think that Kaycee was easily the second most likely winner of the season. But if Tyler changes his mind and doesn't want Kaycee in the end anymore, I think she drops immediately. She sinks like an anchor in the ocean. It's not looking good for her.
Yeah, it'll get pretty scary. It'll get really scary, especially if Tyler starts deciding, because we've seen Tyler walk tight ropes a lot this season with like specific outcomes that he wants at specific times. So if he does zero in on a new plan, I could see a situation where he tries to get rid of Kaycee as quickly as possible and, like, you know, put it under the rug and hide everything. And with the double looming, well, again, I want to say it could happen. We really have to just track this and see how much more this comes up in the upcoming days, because with the double looming, a lot of things can happen, hopefully, and it's not just like a clear and cut Sam going. But with everyone talking, with the Civil War coming together now, it becomes really interesting for these next 4 or 5 days. Like, the outcome of this upcoming eviction, not that interesting, but all the pre-planning and planning for double eviction is going to be interesting, and that's what we got to keep track of this week.
Yes. All right. So believe that's what we have for you tonight. Not a bad Friday morning update for a week that might be a little slow. I think that tracking who Tyler wants to take to the end will be interesting this week. Tracking, you know, JC and Brett, how they handle yet another week of having to wait to take their shot. Can they remain under the radar for the entirety of the week, so that Kaycee does not decide to take a shot at them because she realizes what they plan on doing to her? And then again, just sort of like plans for the double heading up to next week. So I think we've still got some intrigue this week. I don't think it'll be as bad as the previous 2 weeks, but we're heading into some exciting stuff down the road. I think this has to be the last slow week for sure. Between the double and then the next couple weeks heading up here, we're gonna have some fun. So get ready.
Yeah. This is like the only dud adjacent time left in this house, which can also, like, the interesting stuff can peak if, for example, let's talk some scenarios, if Haleigh wins veto, because then they got to put somebody else up. And this is not one of those people that they've like kind of softened up to put up there. This is someone that they'd really have to put up there, and they'd be like in a bit of a shock or kind of be feeling the burn. Like if JC goes up, we still haven't seen how JC will react in a situation. Like he still hasn't been on the block. So that gets interesting. So there's still a lot of game left for this week. There's a little bit for this upcoming eviction, a lot for the next eviction, which is the double. So it's going to be a lot of fun to track and see where that goes. And then after that, we're just full steam ahead into the fun stuff.
Yes. Unfortunately, we had like a 1 week slowdown that would have been a natural 1 week slowdown that could have led to exciting things. But then the battle back extended the 1 week to a 2 week. And then we got unlucky with a third week, just like a less than a second unlikely comp outcome. But we've got some good stuff coming forward. So looking forward to it. Puya, anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I'm just excited to get out of here and then listen to the Summer of Stein. That's going to be a lot of fun
Yes,
today.
Summer of Stein today. We'll have some fun with that. And then I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today on the feeds. Sunday night, I will be hosting the Sunday night recap for the nomination episode of Big Brother 20. Make sure you check that out. And yeah. I think that's all we got for you. Make sure you check out the American Ninja Warrior podcast. We're in the finals. The season finale will air on Monday night, so that should be fun. See if there's a new American Ninja Warrior. It's big news if somebody wins. So it's a lot of fun to watch, and you can start whenever you want. It's good fun. And check out the podcast that I do with Lita. And you can follow me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. You can follow Puya at Puyaism. Thank you for joining us. I will see you next time.